Dinosaurs. The first thought that comes to mind for most are the enormous fossils they left behind. Tyrannosaurus rex, velociraptors, even the mighty Triceratops. But do you think of high schoolers? The Webb Schools of Claremont are unique, in fact, one of a kind, because they are the only high school in the world with an accredited museum of paleontology.
Well, the students are a really big part of the program, which kind of makes our program unique because the high school students are basically involved in all aspects of the program. So they go with us to collect the fossils, and they're pretty good at it. They can hike a long ways and find, important specimens.
Between about 90 and 95% of the fossils that are held at the museum and on display were found and collected by students. There's about half dozen field trips a year that we run with the students from the school here. There's one required one that all the freshmen take, where they go out and collect fossils, and then we have a number of basically volunteer opportunities. Some of the most spectacular displays that we have, particular ones that were found by students from Webb, include a almost complete fossil camel skeleton from Barstow. We also have a very complete skull of a herbivorous duck-billed dinosaur that was found. The students from the Webb schools are involved in pretty much every step of the museum process, from collecting the fossils to preparing them to conducting the research and publication on the fossils. So the process begins out in the field where we go out and find the fossils, collect them, and then we bring them back to the prep lab where some of our student volunteers are involved with cleaning a lot of the rock off the specimens.
It might take you an hour to collect a specimen in the field. It might take you 15 hours to prep it. Remove all the rock around it and clean it all up and get it all hardened up. And then they'll help us put them in the collections, curate them, all the labels you'll need. And then we have classes where kids actually study the fossils and do research on them.
Some of this information that they work on is actually eventually published or presented at scientific meetings.
But how did a small boarding school like Webb come to be a large contributor to the scientific community? It all started with one man and his love for science, Raymond M. Alf.
Just kind of on a whim, he took a trip out to the desert in 1936 with some of the boys here from the school, and they found this peccary skull. And they didn't think it was a big deal. It was a fossil pig skull, but they brought it down to paleontologists at Caltech who identified it as a new genus. So they had their first trip, they had found this really important fossil. So they went way out to Nebraska from California. This is back in 1937 now. And they found a bunch of fossils out there, and also he met a guy, professor from the University of Colorado, who was a paleontologist. And this guy inspired Alf to become a paleontologist. So he came back to Webb, finished the year, and then he went off to the University of California, got a master's in paleontology. He came back to Webb and started doing all kinds of trips, collecting all kinds of fossils, and it just kind of mushroomed from this first occurrence of finding the peccary skull back in 1936.
Webb possesses one of the largest and most sought-after collections in North America.
The exhibits at the museum include organisms ranging in size from a bacterium up to the size of a T-Rex. The kinds of fossils that are on display really vary in their completeness as well as the type of organism. We have some fossils that are very scientifically important but might only include a single tooth, and then we have others that are virtually complete skeletons.
Well, Ray Alf is really interested in fossil tracks. And the whole bottom exhibit floor is called the Hall of Footprints, which features a lot of these tracks.
Our footprint collection is probably one of the most diverse and also one of the largest collections of fossil footprints in North America. It includes everything from dinosaur tracks to small lizard tracks to spider and scorpion tracks, all the way up to elephant tracks that were found out at Barstow. So we have a huge range of footprints ranging from about 300 million years ago up till about 5 or 10 million years ago. And my personal favorite is the bear dog tracks, which are from an animal that walked Barstow about 15 million years ago, a pretty large carnivore.
The museum is not just for Webb students. It also serves the community and invites people of all ages to visit.
Yeah, we basically serve two groups. We serve the Webb schools and the students here, and we also serve the public. So we have lots of programs for the public. We have school tours every morning. Schools can call us up and schedule a tour where it's led by a docent. Also, we bring fossils and stuff out to other schools, like a traveling fossil presentation we can make at schools. And we have open houses on Saturdays, and we have a special fossil fest once a year. So we try to serve the public as much as we can, and we're open every day, and then from 1 to 4 on Saturdays.
Ray Alf leaves behind the inspiration to continue to look for answers and a legacy that will last for years to come.
What our museum is really known for is taking kids out in the field to collect fossils and bringing them back here for display and studying them. That's what we do today. We follow that tradition of Ray Alf's.